Good afternoon. Welcome and thank you for joining our celebration here at Abraham Lincoln School number 22. We have an amazing collection of work from our student scholars to share with you. It is important as educators to highlight and celebrate the work that our students do. It is also important to do so at the time designated to celebrate the achievement of Black people and of the diaspora, and all those who have contributed to our society worldwide. Black History Celebration was started in 1926 by historian Carter G. Woodson. It was then called Negro History Week. In the late 1960s, it was changed to Black History Month. It wasn't until 1986 that Congress passed into law that we now have National Black History Month that is celebrated not only in the United States, but also in countries like Canada, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. Carter G. Woodson quoted and said, "Those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history." We hope you enjoy our celebration, and again, thank you for joining us.
Please hold. It seems we're having some technical difficulties. No, it's not playing.
Should we come back on?
I don't know.
Hello, my name is Jose Fonseca. Welcome to Abraham Lincoln School number 22.
On. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as listening skies. Let it resound loud as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Abraham Lincoln School 22. This year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the celebration of Black History Month has been delayed and moved to a virtual format. Students, staff, and community partners have worked tirelessly to display and celebrate the achievement of the people of African descent. The name of our school, Abraham Lincoln, is a constant reminder of the history of Rochester, the home of Frederick Douglass, and others who have joined in the struggle to liberate people of African descent, but not only that, but to liberate our whole country. Across the globe is a continuous reminder of the importance of this celebration. Please enjoy the presentation, and as always, remember, it takes a village to raise a child.
Good evening, families, visitors, and friends of Abraham Lincoln School number 22. My name is Dr. Shirley Green, and I am the proud school chief of Abraham Lincoln School number 22. I want to take this time to welcome you to this virtual celebration of Black History Month. It is so important that we recognize our history and we make our students and families aware of the great accomplishments of African Americans. As a resident of Rochester, New York, I am so proud that we can now say that we have an international airport named after Frederick Douglass, a great man who has accomplished so much during his time here on earth. We here in Rochester want to make sure that our students know who they are and know the history of kings and queens that they come from. So again, I take this time to welcome you to Abraham Lincoln School number 22's Black History Celebration. Thank you and enjoy.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulder, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, when I can for my people. While the clouds run back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to enter? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving toward the separating line. I already told mighty white eyes, you know I got it made up mind. And I'm not mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I will fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to enter? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Just as fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
pyramids? Raise your hand. Yeah, the pyramids, yes. So what I want to share with you, who's heard the word STEM before? STEM, STEM, raise your hand. You guys teach STEM back there, Miss? Yes. So what I want to share with you is that Africans were extremely instrumental in inventing things we call STEM, which is what? Science, technology, what's the other two? Engineering and math, right? So hold on one second. Normally I do a PowerPoint presentation, but I don't have enough time. So I want to just show something, see? So these are little miniature pyramids, right? But I want to share that these represent science, technology, engineering, and math. This is STEM right here. Now, the gentleman named Imhotep, who's one of our ancestors, was the first documented doctor in the world. He also studied the stars, as well as was one of the major builders of the step pyramid. So that's so important, understanding our identity, because if we're African American or African immigrants, we come from a very, very rich culture and heritage on the continent of Africa. So I want you all to look up the word Imhotep and start to learn about your history through the lens of people that look just like you. And let me just say this here. I do a lot of presentations in Seattle and other areas, but normally everybody doesn't have their screen on. So I'm so proud of you all for having your screens on. So give yourselves a hand for having your screens on. Come on, let me see you. Yes, thank you. Yes. I want you to be proud of yourselves because you're amazing. You are amazing. And everything you would want to support your brilliance is inside of you already. So I'm here to help you tap into that brilliance that's already here through history. So I'm actually going to go back here and get something else. And it's really, this is a statue I bought when I was visiting in Ghana, Africa, right? This is wood, right? But this also represents a skill set, which means a carpenter that helped build the Americas. So not only when we were stolen to pick cotton, and that's one story that's told, but your ancestors that were stolen were doctors, lawyers, carpenters, scientists, healers, doctors, you name it. We have these amazing skills. So we weren't just stolen to pick cotton. Europeans knew our brilliance, and so they actually stole us for the purpose of changing the world for their benefit, okay? That's Mother Africa. There are other things I will share with you next time, but I really want you to hold on to the African part of your identity because that's who you are. That's who you are. You are an amazing scholar. And your teacher calls you scholars. I want you to start calling yourself scholars because Imhotep was a scholar, okay? So the museum is in 4 sections: Mother Africa, American chattel slavery, Jim Crow, and you all know it as the Civil Rights era, and the last one's inventions and inventors. So I'm gonna go through quickly all 4 sections, but I got a feeling you guys are gonna invite me back, and I'm so excited about that, okay? So we talked about Mother Africa, right? The birthplace of civilization. The very first human being was born in Africa. So everybody in the world has African genes in their bodies. I don't care what they look like. I don't care if they're Asian. I don't care if they're white. If you do your research, you will find that out, okay? So we're gonna leave Mother Africa. Now we're gonna go to the enslavement period. So there's this belief that we were slaves. We were never slaves. Listen to what I'm saying. We were enslaved. It's a big difference. which means somebody enforced their will on us and stole us. To call ourselves a slave, which is a noun, is really rooted in our identity. No, I just told you that we're Africans, but Europeans want us to believe that we don't have a history. And that's just not true. So what I have here is a couple of authentic slave shackles. This is real. This is what they put on our ancestors and put us on boats and brought us to the Americas. Okay, here's a slave shackle. And these are real, by the way. And if it wasn't COVID, just imagine me coming to your school and setting up 13 big tables of all these different artifacts, and you can actually touch them. Because my museum is 100% hands-on, because I believe that our children learn better kinesthetically or touching items, right? So that was a slave shackle, right? So here's a branding iron. We were branded twice, once on the continent and once in the Americas. We were treated as if we were subhuman or chattel or animals. But guess what? You come from an amazing people that in spite of all this, we still rose up and did some amazing things. And I'm going to show you some examples, but I want to share with you some of the harsh treatments that your ancestors went through. So here's a branding iron. You know, there was a movie out recently by Harriet Tubman. Did any of you guys see it? Okay, but so if you get a chance, the reason why Harriet Tubman's movie is so important, she was talking about resistance. And resistance implies for you to fight back and not to accept the way things are. So Harriet Tubman was responsible with freeing over 300 of our ancestors out of slavery to the North. So what I have here is what I call a runaway collar. And it will put these items on our neck or on our ankles, but they had bells on them, right? I'm not sure if you can hear, but your ancestors, they were so smart. They just put mud on them and they ran anyway. That's so important for you guys to understand, is that your ancestors fought back on the slave ships, on the continent of Africa, as well as in the Americas. We did not go peacefully. So these amazing individuals that had courage and perseverance, which is a big word, but really, 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 really refused to be treated inhumanely, fought back every chance they could get. So that's the resistance part. So the next section we're going to talk about is a section I believe that you have some knowledge of. It's called Jim Crow, but you may know it as the Civil Rights era. Who's heard of Martin Luther King? Raise your hand. Okay, great. Who's heard of Rosa Parks? Raise your hand. Right. So that's a very, very, very painful time for African Americans. They used to have signs, and I brought a couple of signs. This sign says, no dogs, no Negroes, no Mexicans. This sign says showers, whites over here, blacks over here. And I showed you the colored sign. So what this section is telling you is that even though during Jim Crow, we may have been free. I mean, you know, Abraham Lincoln is called the great emancipator. He's the one that freed all of the slaves. But Jim Crow or civil rights, which is another section where we were treated and we were oppressed. We just weren't enslaved. But I want to share with you some of the signs that would have hung up in the Americas. But you know what? Your ancestors did not allow that to stop them from resisting. So if you think about Martin Luther King and a lot of his marches, we've had some Black Lives Matter marches recently, right? Are you guys familiar with that? Black Lives Matter? Well, just so you know, I see that thumb. Well, just so you know, that's not new. In 1963, if you look up the Children's March, what you will find is that children, scholars just like you, stood up for their rights and marched down the streets. So guess what? Now our turn to stand on the shoulders of our ancestors and represent and push back on being oppressed and not allowing people to treat us any old way. So now, the last section to me, which is one of the most important sections, is Black inventions and inventors. Hey, who knows about a superhero? Raise your hand. Yes, I'm sure you guys all have superheroes. Who's seen the movie Black Panther? Raise your hand. Yes. So just so you know, Black Panther to me was a superhero. Wouldn't you agree? But I'm going to share, yeah, I see you. I'm going to share some other superheroes with you. Remember I told you that in Africa, this represents STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, let me share with you another example of STEM. Can you guys see this? This is an ice cream scoop. Who likes ice cream? Raise your hand. I knew that, yes. But did you know somebody that looks like me and you, a Black man, invented, he had a bright idea. I use his light bulb, it was a bright idea. And he used his creativity and his imagination to develop the ice cream scoop. Similar to what the Egyptians did. They used their amazing creativity and imagination. This is the ice cream scoop. Who knows what this is? Yeah, it's a pencil sharpener, right?
Y'all can't play with me now. Come on.
Did you all know that somebody Black invented the pencil sharpener? Isn't that amazing? Yes. So I have a few more. So I can imagine that you don't know what this here is, right? Yeah, you do. It's a doorknob. Yes. Now here's the question. Did you know that somebody that looks like you made the doorknob? So have you heard of Garrett Morgan? Yes, he invented the traffic light, right? But he also invented the gas mask. So he was what you call a multi-genius. I have a couple of more. You probably have one of these in your home or your apartment or your classroom. This is called a light switch, right?
This is a story of a little boy named Theo who woke up one morning and asked his mother,
Mom, what if there are no Black people in the world?
Well, his mother thought about that for a moment and then said,
Son, follow me around today and let's just see what it would be like if there are no Black people in the world.
Mom said.
Now go get dressed and we'll get started.
Theo ran to his room to put on his clothes and shoes. His mother took one good look at him and said,
Theo, where are your shoes? And those clothes are all wrinkled, son. I must iron them.
However, when she reached for the ironing board, it was no longer there. You see, Sarah Boone, a Black woman, invented the ironing board, and Jan E. Matzlinger, a Black man, invented the shoelacing machine.
Oh well,
she said.
Please go and do something to your hair.
Theo ran in his room to comb his hair, but the comb was not there. You see, Walter Salmons, a Black man, invented the comb. Theo decided to just brush his hair, but the brush was gone. You see, Lydia O. Newman, a Black female, invented a brush. Well, this was a sight No shoes, wrinkled clothes, hair's a mess, even Mom's hair. Without the hair care and inventions of Adam C. Walker, well, you get the picture. Mom told Theo,
Let's do our chores around the house and then take a trip to the grocery store.
Theo's job was to sweep the floor. He swept and swept and swept. When he reached for the dustpan, it was not there. You see, Lloyd P. Ray, a black man, invented the dustpan. So he swept his pile of dirt over in the corner and left it. He then decided to mop the floor, but the mop was gone. You see, Thomas W. Stewart, a black man, invented the mop. Theo yelled to his mom,
Mom, I'm not having any luck.
Well, son,
she said.
let me finish washing these clothes and we will prepare a list for the grocery store.
When the wash finished, she went to place the clothes in the dryer, but it was not there. You see, George T. Salmon, a black man, invented the clothes dryer. Mom asked Theo to go get a pencil and some paper to prepare their list for the market. So Theo ran for the paper and pencil, but noticed the pencil was broken. Well, he was out of luck because John Love, a black man, invented the pencil sharpener. So Mom reached for a pen, but it was not there because William Purvis, a black man, invented the fountain pen. As a matter of fact, Lee Burridge invented the typewriting machine, and W.A. Lovett the advanced printing press. Theo and his mother decided to just head out to the market. Well, when Theo opened the door, he noticed the grass was as high as he was tall. You see, John Burr, a black man, invented the lawnmower. They made their way over to the car and found that it just wouldn't go. You see, Richard Spikes, a black man, invented the automatic gear shift, and Joseph Gamble invented the supercharged system for internal combustion engines. They also noticed that the few cars that were moving were running into each other and having wrecks because there were no traffic signals. You see, Garrett A. Morgan, a black man, invented the traffic light. Well, it was getting late, so they walked to the market, got their groceries, and returned home. But just when they were about to put away the milk, eggs, and butter, they noticed the refrigerator was gone. You see, John Standard, a black man, invented the refrigerator. So they just left the food on the counter. By this time, Phil noticed he was getting mighty cold. Mom went to turn up the heat, and what do you know? Alice Parker, a black female, invented the heating furnace. Even in the summertime, they would have been out of luck because Frederick Jones, a black man, invented the air conditioner. Well, it was almost time for Theo's father to arrive home. He usually takes the bus, but there was no bus because its precursor was the electric trolley, invented by another black man, Albert R. Robinson. He usually takes the elevator from his office on the 20th floor, but there was no elevator because Alexander Miles, a black man, invented the elevator. He also usually dropped off the office mail at a nearby mailbox, but it was no longer there because Philip Downing, a black man, invented the letter drop mailbox, and William Barry invented the postmarking and canceling machine. Theo and his mother sat at the kitchen table with their heads in their hands. When the father arrived, he asked,
Why are you sitting inside the dark?
"Why?" "Because Lewis Howard Latimer, a black man, invented the filament within the light bulb." Theo quickly learned more about what it would be like if there were no black people in the world, especially if he were ever sick and needed blood. Dr. Charles Drew, a black scientist, found a way to preserve and store blood, which led to him starting the world's first blood bank. Well, what if a family member had to have heart surgery? This would not have been possible without Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, a black doctor who performed the first open heart surgery. So if you ever wonder, like Theo, where would we be without black people? Well, it's pretty plain to see. We would still be in the dark.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Thank you.
Lord, Lord, why did you make me black? Why did you make me someone the world wants to hold back? Black is the color of dirty clothes, the color of grimy hands and feet. Black is the color of darkness, the color of tired bean streets. Why did you give me thick lips, a broad nose, and kinky hair? Why did you make me someone who retrieves the hatred stare? Black is the color of a bruised eye when somebody gets hurt. Black is the color of darkness. Black is the color of dirt. How come my bone structure so thick, my hips and cheeks are high? How come my eyes are brown and not the color of daylight sky? Why do people think I'm useless? How come I feel so used? Why do some people see my skin and think it should be abused? Lord, I just don't understand. What is it about my skin? Why do some people want to hate me, not the person within? Black is what people are listed when others want to keep them away. Black is the color of shadow cast and the end of the day. Lord, you know my own people mistreat me, and I know this just isn't right. They don't like my hair or the way I look. They say I'm too dark or too light. Lord, don't you think it's time for you to make a change? Why don't you redo creation and make everyone the same?
God answered,
Why did I make you black? Why did I make you black? Get off your knees and look around. Tell me, what do you see? I didn't make you in the image of darkness. I made you in the likeness of me. I made you the color of coal, from which beautiful diamonds are formed. I made you the color of oil, the black gold that keeps people warm. I made you from the rich, dark earth that can grow the food you need. Your color's the same as the panther's, known for her beauty and speed. Your color's the same as the black stallion, a majestic animal is he. I didn't make you in the image of darkness, I made you in the likeness of me. All the colors of a heavenly rainbow can be found throughout every nation. And when all those colors were well blended, you became my greatest creation. Your hair is the texture of lamb's wool, such a humble little creature is he. I am the shepherd who watches them. I am the one who will watch over thee. You are the color of midnight sky. I put the stars glitter in your eyes. There's a smile hidden behind your pain. That's the reason your cheeks are so high. You are the color of dark clouds formed when I send my strongest weather. I made your lips full, so when you kiss the one you love, they will remember. Your stature is strong, bone structure, thick to withstand the burdens of time. The reflection you see in the mirror, the image looking back at you is mine.
You're broken down inside of life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Mountains, we gon' walk it out and move. Mountains, and I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Ooh, mountains, bring it to its feet. Ooh, mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise up. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Bell. I'm here standing in front of a mural that was created by Sean Dunwoody, one of Rochester's famous artists, African-American artist. And he's created this mural of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, two men in history that have contributed to the freedoms that we have today. Obviously, one of the things that is on this mural talks about it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. And obviously that's something, as a school, we definitely believe it. We have to really do a really good job of teaching our students about the history, the struggle that their ancestors have to overcome, to achieve this moment and achieve the opportunity to have the education that they have today. So once we realize how much people have dedicated and sacrificed in their lives for us to be here today, I think we then become more motivated to do better as people and citizens. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the show.
Good day. Me and my friends from Ms. Lopez Santiago class will be talking about the writer Langston Hughes.
Langston Hughes was an African-American writer. He was a poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and communist.
He was a writer in almost any genre you can think of. He became a famous writer, but all his life he remembered how he started out, and he helped encourage many other struggling writers.
Langston Hughes wrote the poem Mother to Son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me in Vino Crystal Stair. It had tacks in it and splinters, and boards torn up in places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all time, I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners, and sometimes went in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it's kinda hard. Don't you fall now, for I'm still going, honey. I'm still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. His mom was trying to tell him that life isn't easy, and that when he wants to give up, just because it's hard, he can't. He has to keep going so he can reach what he wants or needs.
The poem describes the difficulty that African American people and other people face in a society where people were judged by the color of their skin.
Langston once said, I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go.
Hola, me llamo Miss Rich y soy una de las maestras del Kinder Bilingüe. Me gustaría compartir con ustedes el proyecto de nuestra clase, La Alegría y Excelencia Negra. Hello, my name is Miss Rich and I'm one of the teachers in Bilingual Kindergarten. I'd like to share with you our class's project on Black excellence and joy. Hay tantos ejemplos de la excelencia negra, pero muchas veces el sufrimiento de los negros es la primera cosa que aprenden los niños en la escuela. Aunque es sumamente importante que aprendan acerca de la historia de la esclavitud y el racismo, que aún es parte de la experiencia negra en los Estados Unidos, no es la única parte. There are so many examples of Black excellence, but many times Black suffering is the first thing that students learn in school. Although it's truly important that we all learn about the history of slavery and racism that is still a part of the Black experience in the United States, it's not the only part. Estudiamos dos ejemplos de la excelencia negra, Simone Biles y Kadir Nelson. We studied two examples of Black excellence, Simone Biles and Kadir Nelson. Simone Biles es una de las mejores gimnastas en la historia de los Estados Unidos. Ella es fuerte, ágil y flexible. Ganó 5 medallas en las Olimpiadas de Río y estamos emocionados por verla este verano en Japón. This is Simone Biles, who we learned about, one of the very best gymnasts in the history of the United States. She's strong, agile, and flexible. She won 5 gold medals in the Olympic Games in Rio, and we're really looking forward to seeing her this summer in the Olympics in Japan. Los estudiantes miraron videos de sus rutinas y diseñaron un leotardo para Simone. Hablaron de por qué ella es tan especial. Our students watched videos of Simone's routines and then designed a leotard for her to wear. We also discussed what makes her so incredibly special. Aquí tenemos Kadir Nelson. Kadir es un pintor, autor e ilustrador. Muchas de sus obras de arte tienen que ver con la historia de los afroamericanos en los Estados Unidos y sus experiencias hoy en día. Kadir Nelson is a painter, author, and illustrator. Many of his works of art have to do with African American history in the United States and their experiences in daily life today. Los estudiantes escogieron una obra de arte de Kadir e imitaron su estilo. Students chose works of art created by Kadir and then imitated his style. Aquí tenemos La Libertad Dulce. Here we have Sweet Liberty. Esta es de la carátula del álbum de Drake. This is some work from Drake's cover album. Y aquí tenemos Callejón de Béisbol Callejero. Here we have Stickball Alley. Pensamos seguir aprendiendo acerca de este tema tan importante porque cada mes es el mes de la historia negra. We plan on continuing our study on this very important theme because every month is Black History Month. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much.
Begin. Begin.
Every small boat, ocean, spinning big waves, in motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power was turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fire left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep, staring too deep. Been 2 years and I miss my home. Fire burning in my bones. Still believe. I still believe in all those things I didn't say. Wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my last song. Prove I'm alright song. My power was turned on. Standing right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fire left in me. Like a small boat.
In July 1944, Allied forces broke out from Normandy following the D-Day landings of 1 month before. American troops began their march across France, liberating Paris and making their final push into Nazi Germany. As fighting intensified, so did the need for reminders of who and what they were fighting for. Letters and packages were the connections to loved ones and to their lives at home. But as the American army spread across Europe, delivery of mail became ever more difficult. 7 million Americans, military and civilian, were stationed in the European theater. Most were changing locations often, and many soldiers shared common names. By Christmas 1944, 17 million pieces of mail had piled up in Birmingham, England. Packages of cakes and cookies rotted in warehouses, while the troops shivered on the front lines of France and Belgium. The soldiers noticed, and Army reports noted the lack of reliable mail was hurting morale. A new mail delivery system was needed, and it would be managed by a new unit, fresh from the States, and ready to prove themselves up to the task. On February 3rd, 1945, the first group of women from the 6888th Central Postal Directory Battalion shipped out from New York. The 6888 was the first Army unit of its kind, consisting entirely of African American women. It was under the command of Major Charity Adams, the first black woman to earn a commission in what would become the Women's Army Corps. Arriving in Birmingham, the women of the 6888 were met with unheated warehouses stacked to the ceiling with letters and packages. Immediately, they got to work. Splitting into shifts and working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they tracked the locations of millions of troops and had the solemn duty of returning mail addressed to service members who had died. All the while, the stacks of undelivered mail began to shrink as the 6th AAA adopted the motto, "No mail, low morale." And yet they still found themselves having to prove their worth to their fellow Americans. During an inspection by an Army general, Major Adams was chastised for not having all her troops present. She explained that the women worked in shifts and that she was following orders as she was given but was cut off. The general threatened to send a white officer to show her how to command the unit. "Over my dead body, sir," she replied. Major Adams remained commander of the 6th AAA, clearing the 6-month backlog of mail in less than half that time. Their mission in England complete, the 6th AAA transferred to France in June 1945, where they faced a similar stockpile. Once again, it was cleared in half the time expected. While in France, the 6th AAA felt the same loss as so many American units during the war, as 3 women, PFC Mary Barlow, PFC Mary Bankston, and Sergeant Dolores Brown, were killed in a Jeep accident. They would be buried with honors alongside their brothers in arms at the Normandy American Cemetery. Only 4 women would be buried in Normandy. 3 were from the 6th AAA. By late 1945, the war now over, American troops began their long-awaited trek home. Among those heading home was the general who had threatened to replace Major Adams. Since that encounter, they had developed a good working relationship, and just before leaving, he showed up unannounced. "Adams, I've received my orders to return to the States," he told her. "It's not easy for me to say what I've come to say. Working with you has been quite an education for me, especially about Negroes. It's been a long time since anyone challenged me, black or white, but you took me on. You outsmarted me, and I am proud that I know you." Charity Adams would be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, the highest-ranking African-American woman in the Army at the time. The remainder of the 6th AAA would return home to a still segregated country in February 1946 and be disbanded without further ceremony. 855 women served with the 6th AAA during World War II. They were the only battalion of all African-American women to serve abroad during the war. The example they set proved an education for a great many, opening the door for generations of servicewomen since.
Well, Pilolo is a traditional African game that you can describe as hide and seek. I picked Pilolo as a concept to showcase the transatlantic slave trade, how it went on in this Osu area. And as data shows us, most people that were captured in this area were shipped into the Danish Caribbean, St. Croix, St. Thomas, the US Virgin Islands. So these people are missing from us. And those of us left on the motherland here are also hiding away from them. So just like the game of Pilolo, we're hiding from each other. And normally when you play Pilolo, at the end of the game, everybody comes back and there is a song that goes, Pilolo Yafo Bemi, which means in Pilolo, we don't cry. So I picked Pilolo to be the name of this festival, to end that sadness that will make people cry. That is the reason why I selected Pilolo as the name of this festival, to wipe everybody's tears. Anyone who's been wronged by the transatlantic slave trade, by coming to Pilolo, we're asking for forgiveness and we're asking for a new rebirth of the African dream, that the African Renaissance would kickstart from this Pilolo festival.
My name is Ariana Robinson. Thank you for being a part of our Black History celebration.
Good evening. On behalf of the students, staff, and community partners of Abraham Lincoln School 22, I want to send a very big thank you to everyone who contributed in making our Black History celebration successful. We hope to be together again soon as we continue to celebrate Black history. We are proud members of a community rich in culture and history. We are Rochester. We are Abraham Lincoln School 22.